So something that's been very interesting for IP lawyers around the world is seeing how these giant pop stars, not to name anyone in particular, have been using intellectual properties to their advantage and getting some advantages out of intellectual properties. So something that has been noticed by a lot of people, especially those who are very interested in the NFL recently, have been Taylor Swift's really nice new jacket that represented her boyfriend Travis Kelce, and the licensing agreement that actually came out of the fervor of looking for how do I get a jacket like that. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. It's actually pretty interesting because a lot of times you think you have a license before you can make something, but Kristen Uschek made these kind of personal handmade jackets for Taylor Smith and for Taylor Swift and other celebrity wives ahead of different football games and basketball games. I think she just made one for Caitlin Clark, the basketball player from Iowa. And when people started seeing these jackets, they said, where can I get this? Because they're really cool. A lot of women have complained that women's wear in sports are just ugly t-shirts or jerseys. And what Kristen Uschek did was she took the jersey and repurposed it, right? That's upcycling. And she took the jersey and made it into a coat, which made it much cooler and really interesting. At the time, she didn't have a licensing deal, but it seems like she wasn't selling them anyway. She was making them personally for people she knew or was requested to make them. But that's resulted in an NFL deal. And so now she's going to be licensed to use those logos. And I think recently she just put out a piece to raise money for breast cancer. So she has a very promising career. What made it interesting was that there's something called the first sale. And if you and I buy a jersey, I could sell it to you. And or I could donate it to a thrift store. They could sell it, and nobody pays any licensing fees, right? You don't have to pay the Kansas City Chiefs or Nike to do that. But when you upcycle something, you change it. And so changing a jersey into a coat, it's similar, but it's a little different. And what happened was people got confused. They said, wow, can I buy a jacket like that from the Kansas City Chiefs? And you couldn't, because they don't sell them. And so that's why the first sale comes into play sometimes, but you have to be careful, because if you change something enough, then it's not covered by the first sale anymore.
So in terms of upcycling things that you're buying from a different brand that has their brand name associated with it, generally first sale, you think about buying something and then selling it secondhand. So like a book or a CD or a t-shirt or a jacket, you are giving it to the person essentially in the way it came to you. Now when you upcycle things and create something new out of something that was originally something else, say turn a jersey into a jacket, there might be some issues as to whether people will see the jacket and think that's something that is being sold by the brand that is shown on this new item. And when the brand isn't actually making that piece themselves, they have no quality control, they have no way to know how it's being sold, if anything illegal is part of that material, so if any additional licensing things are going on with the piece that they had no hand in making or selling or marketing, that might be a separate issue. So as Lucian mentioned before, because Kristen was not actually selling these products ahead of time and she was just gifting them to other people, there was no issue of whether people were thinking that Nike was selling that piece through Kristen previously. So she was just, doing a DIY project and giving it to her friends, which is generally fine. But once you start selling those items and saying, I'm selling this piece to you and it's a Nike or NFL jacket, people might think that you have an association with the Nike or with NFL and think that they have somehow approved this product, they have somehow quality controlled this product, and if they have no hand in it, they have not approved it, they haven't quality checked it, then they might have an issue when customers come back and say, well, why is this jacket really poor quality, or the seams are breaking, or oh, these people aren't supposed to be on the same jacket. They don't want to have people out there thinking, oh, we had a say in what came on this jacket because it was just a DIY project from some random person. So because she was just giving it away to people, people knew that it was just her project, her little, hobby on the side, it was fine. But once you start selling these projects to other people who don't really know if you have some sort of relationship with the brands or with the brands in question, then that's when the brands might start having an issue with it.